Today, I am truly honored to be graduating from American University with a PhD in American history. And as a newly minted history professor, when I'm given a podium like this, I have this burning desire to lecture to you about history. But I won't. But the beauty, though, of history is really, it's just telling stories about where we as a nation came from and how we ended up where we are today. And so I would like to tell you a brief story about a man named Norman Cousins, who for 35 years was the editor of the American magazine Saturday Review. And whenever Cousins would interview a prominent diplomat or statesman, he would ask them one simple question. In your lifetime, what have you learned? When he put that question to President John F. Kennedy, the president reflected on it for a moment before saying, I think I've learned that you can tell the true value of an advisor not by the answers he gives you, but by the questions you haven't thought of yourself yet. When he asked that question to the Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, the Prime Minister said, you know, the one thing I think I've learned in life is actually that I've learned absolutely nothing, which I really hope is not the case for the graduates today, because that would be a very expensive lesson. But finally, it was the famed humanitarian Albert Schweitzer who, when asked what he had learned in his long and accomplished life, said, I think I've learned that if you have something important to do in your life, don't expect people to clear a path for you. But regardless of what you should do, you should make your life your argument. And of all the quotes, I think that one, for those of us who are about to cross this stage today, make your life your argument, is something we should really take to heart. Because as graduates, we've all spent many years here pursuing our educations at American University. We've pushed the boundaries of thought. We've expanded our intellects. We've learned to discuss ideas and challenge notions and disagree with each other while also trying to find the common ground. And we've learned to do all of that with civility. And now, as graduates who will be going out into the world, and many of whom I hope will end up in leadership positions ourselves, it's now up to us to model that civility. It's up to us to foster that civil discourse that's been so sorely lacking in our nation lately. Because a better civilization, a better nation, begins with just one person's inspired imagination. It begins with just one person's inspired example. A better nation truly begins when just one person makes their life their argument. But all around us, we can see evidence of fear and violence and hate and cynicism, which makes it really easy to despair at the great challenges that our nation might face in the future. But here again, history can teach us something. Because that man, Norman Cousins, also lived through a time of fear and violence. He lived through the Great Depression, through World War II. He witnessed the Holocaust. He was Jewish, after all. But despite being dragged down by the cynics, which he did not let himself do even in the face of this overwhelming darkness, he continued to have faith and hope. He continued to advocate for a better world. And that's why he asked that question. That's why he asked the greatest minds of his generation what they had learned, what wisdom they had to share with the world. And I think it's important on this day especially that we all reflect on that question. To the graduates, what have you learned here? What wisdom do you now have to share with the world? And to the families and friends, what wisdom do you have to share with your graduates? Which you should do, because we all have so much that we can learn from each other. And that's what Norman Cousins recognized when he asked that question, what have you learned? And responding to that question, it was President Dwight Eisenhower who said, "I think I've learned that the rules of good leadership are really quite simple. It's applying those rules that is so confoundingly complicated." And so, as graduates, we are called upon today to go out and to apply what we've learned here at American University about good leadership. We are called upon today to go out and to inspire, to help create that better nation as we know it could be. And above all else, we are called upon today to go out into the world and to demonstrate what we've learned by making our lives our arguments. Thank you.